evening and welcome to another captivating episode of the Arise Dialogue series. My name is Steffi Tepete and I am your host for today. This is the conversation where we architect the future one dialogue at a time. Young people are a gift to their world and they have what it takes to make our societies, communities a better place. Every 3 years, thousands of young African innovators and dreamers convene to redefine the trajectory of the continent Africa at an event known to us as the Orange Youth Festival. Today we are joined by the team coordinating the 2026 edition of the Orange Youth Festival. We have with us in the studio today the Global CEO of Youth Arise organization, Mr. Moses Bafo Iwa. We have the head of the Orange Youth Secretariat, Ms. Lynn Akofa Anka, and the head of the Africa We Want Symposium team, Mr. David Dakodapa. After the break, we get to meet our guest. You're watching the Arise Dialogue series. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you after the break. Welcome back from that commercial break. Welcome to the set, my leaders who are architecting the Orange Youth Festival. Let's talk about the festival that is painting the entire continent orange. I'm going to start with the Global CEO, Mr. Moses Bafo Iwa. There's a lot of excitement in the air about this event that is coming up, which is the Orange Youth Festival. So I want to know from you, what is the Orange Youth Festival and why have a festival dubbed the Orange Youth Festival?
Thank you so much, Steffi, for having me on your show. The Orange Youth Festival is simply the manifestation of our architect of change. It is a place where inspiration meets the marketplace. Every inspiration, every idea needs a platform. Everything you think about needs a place where it can see the light of the day, where you meet all the kinds of people that you are supposed to meet to ensure that your ideas, your plan, comes to pass. So the Orange Youth Festival brings young people from across the globe to a place where they are able to share their ideas, where they are able to bring their prototypes, where they are able to showcase what they have, their talent and their skills and their gifts, so that they will be able to really see their potential manifest. So when you talk about the Orange Youth Festival, it's simply a place where our Architect for Change mission manifests. And when inspiration meets the marketplace, it's simply a place where our ecosystem that is there. Remember the last time I came here, I spoke about the 7 agencies we have. It's where all our 7 agencies come together and showcase what they have and bring the solutions that our continent have been waiting for all this while. It's a place where we say that we are no longer just consumers. We are creators and we are the determinants of what our future will become. That is all that the Orange Youth Festival is about.
Of what the Orange Youth Festival is and what it aims to achieve, even taking us back to the 7 agencies under the Youth Arise coming together to provide us or to bring us something interesting at the Orange Youth Festival. And as the conversation began, I was feeling kind of nostalgic, thinking about the first edition of the Orange Youth Festival, which was in 2023. And I want to hear from you, the head of the Secretariat for 2026. How was the 2023 experience of the Orange Youth Festival and what should we expect?
First of all, thank you very much for having me on this episode. I would say that 2023 was beautiful. That was the first time I got to be in a space where people believed in young people. And I hadn't experienced anything like that before. So the theme was celebrating the gifts of young people. So obviously our talents, our skills, our abilities, our innovations and ideas, they all came front and center stage at the festival, and it was an amazing experience. I remember feeling so excited to be in the midst of people that share similar ideas to me, people from various walks of life. I remember meeting people from across the country, even across the continent, and it was just so much wholesome fun. I would say, in as much as it was full of learning and it was full of, new things that I got to be exposed to. I got to meet so many new people, and I really understood and realized that there are people in this world that believe and celebrate young people. So I would say my 2023 experience was amazing and it was beautiful. And I can't wait to see, a scaled up version 2 years on.
That sounds amazing. It looks like you really had a wonderful time in 2023. I think you built your international network. Mentioning that you didn't need just Ghanaians, but people from other parts of the continent. Mr. David Dakodapa, you are leading the Africa We Want Symposium for 2026. How was the 2023 symposium for you?
Okay, thank you very much for that question and then for having me for this dialogue. 2023, attending the Orange Youth Festival was a great excitement for me. Personally, I have to say that it was my first time attending a youth festival like that. And looking at the fact that it wasn't only about celebrations and enjoyment, let's say the entertainment part of the festival, but for the fact that we had a diplomatic dialogue discussing Africa, the issues of Africa, what even our continental platform, which is the African Union, is doing for the continent, its people, and to be specific, since the festival was geared towards young people, what the African Union is doing for young people and what even young Africans can also do for their continent. And I picked a lot of insight. Personally, I must also say that it was the first time being in such a dialogue where I'm hearing from people talking about different opinions and different things about Africa. And so the conversation, the panel discussion, the solidarity messages that were taken from dignitaries that were invited for the 2023 Africa We Want Symposium, personally inspired me to look at my continent, Africa, as a young person coming up. It inspired me to look at the issues of my continent, what my continent is lacking behind or lagging behind in, and even the progress that our continental platform has made so far. And look at going ahead, what we can do to achieve even some of the policy frameworks that have been designed both by AU and even other important platforms in the continent. So it was very great and it was very intellectual conversation that was going on, and I can't wait for 2026, and I'm personally excited to even be part of the team that is designing the 2026 Africa We Want Symposium.
That sounds amazing. And to you out there who didn't have a chance to experience the 2023 edition of the Orange Youth Festival, you can visit Orange TV and get a recap or get a highlight, get a feel of how the first edition of the Orange Youth Festival was. Back to you, our global CEO. The theme for this year's Orange Youth Festival is Innovating for Sovereignty. So on day one, we are well informed that you aren't just opening with an expo, but there's going to be a lightning of the orange flame. We want to know, what is the symbolism of this particular act?
Symbolism of the lightning of the Orange Youth Festival flame. It's a mandate. We are saying that symbols matter, but systems save. And if we are going to save our world, if we are going to save our continent, then the right systems must be put in place so that our continent will be saved. So it's not just about lightning of the flame. It's about saying that it's about blowing the trumpet for the new generation of African creators to emerge. So the whole idea of the lighting of the flame is that the old is gone, the new has come, and it's time for young people to take their place, and it's time for young people to be the innovators and the creators and the problem solvers of their day and of their time. And that we are the ones that the world have been waiting for all this while. So that is it about lighting. It's a mandate that we have. So basically what we are doing is that we are declaring that there's a new era of African innovators, of African creators, and we are moving away from just independence to identifying our... You remember when I came the last time I spoke about social sovereignty? That is when people identify the challenge they have in their communities, develop the solutions, and then they fund the solutions that they develop. That is what we are looking at, and that is what we are lightening at the first day of the Orange Youth Festival.
Wow, lighting the orange flame at the Orange Youth Festival sounds like, after the explanation we have just gotten here, I think that every young person in Ghana and Africa should find their way to the Orange Youth Festival,
Sure.
because being at such an event, witnessing something so symbolic and mandate as such, is expected to give you a full, paradigm shift and let you know that there's someone out there thinking about you and thinking about how we can make our continent and our world a better place. And riding on the back of how Day One is starting, Miss Lynn, Day One features the Send Innovation Challenge and the Ideal Africa sketching. For someone who has never been to the Orange Youth Festival, can you describe the orange atmosphere that you are creating, and what are we expected to see and feel as part of the event?
So I'll take my answer from where Mr. Moses left off on the mandates to create solutions for our continent and the mandates to come up with things to solve the challenges we are having in our continent. So we're having something amazing called the Send Innovation Challenge, and this is basically the platform that young people are going to have to look at, the area of STEM and how that can solve our challenges, or how that can curb some of the problems we are having in our continent. And on the venue, or on that day, the Valley View University is such an amazing place to host an event like this. And so there's not honestly going to be much work done to create, the innovation or tech experience. We are just going to make it more orange. And when I say more orange, I mean that we are bringing more energy, we are bringing more excitement, we are bringing more liveliness and exuberance of young people to fill up the place. And to view some of the things that young people are doing and some of the ideas that young people have and what they are implementing. On the back of that, we are not only using STEM to solve problems. Art, is a way of expressing emotions. Art is a way of expressing feeling. Art is a way of expressing, our heart. And so we are not only looking at the technical side of things, we are also looking at our emotions as young people. And we are bringing the energy, the exuberance, we are bringing the excitement in terms of the orange atmosphere and expressing it in art form. That is where the Ideal Africa sketching finale will come to play. So we are going to have murals that are going to be painted by groups of young people expressing what they hope to see in the year 2063, off of the back of the agenda 2063. And this time, we are not only doing the Africa we want, but we are looking at the Africa we forge. So this time, it's not about young people lamenting on the issues of the continent and trying to see what our leaders can do for us, but we are looking at what can we also do to contribute to the Africa that we want to see. So this time, in the murals that we are going to paint and in the solutions that are going to be exposed at the Tech Hub, we are going to have young people expressing or showing what we want to contribute and what we want to do for the Africa that we want to see. So for people that have never been to the Orange Youth Festival, I would say come with your excitement, come with curiosity, and come with heart. Because you're not only going to learn, you're also going to feel through the sketches and the beautiful murals that will be painted on the Thursday.
If you want to enter the environment on the first day of the Orange Youth Festival, you would see what young people can do. Because the festival is organized by young people and for young people. And you notice on that day that young people are not lazy, young people are not people who cannot get it. They are people who we should forget about them and that they cannot do anything. And that young people are the ones that are the builders of not just tomorrow, of today. So you are going to see what it means like to experience creativity, to see, you are going to see what it is like to see solutions that are better and you are going to see what it means like to be inspired when you enter the grounds of the Orange Youth Festival. It's a place to be in August.
The Orange Youth Festival is definitely a place to be, and Miss Lynn, you drew our attention to the venue for the 2026 edition of the Orange Youth Festival happening at Valley View. And Chief, I don't know, but I'm just blown away by that. I'm just visualizing how the venue is going to look and going to feel throughout the festive, the festival season in August.
Not just the venue, when you go through the expos, when you walk through the things that are to display, you'll be amazed by what you see. I am amazed by some of the applications we see so far.
Wow.
And some of the things that young Africans are getting ready to display. And it's going to be something else. I saw what happened in 2023.
Yeah.
And I know that 2023 was just the beginning. In 2026, we are going to see something else.
Wow. If you haven't sent in your application yet, the Orange Youth Festival Committee is still receiving. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so the committee is still receiving your innovations and the things that you're doing as a young African. So please reach out to them. Their email address is going to be put in the comment section for you to, click on and follow them on that. Back to you, Mr. Moses Bafwewa, Chief. With attendees coming from across the globe, it's not just a Ghana event. Even in 2023, we had people coming from different countries. We had Benin, we had Nigeria present at the Orange Youth Festival. How is the Orange Youth Festival positioning the African youth as a global solution provider rather than just a local player?
We are not looking at positioning we are not just looking at pitches from the local point of view. We are not looking at using local benchmarks to assess the pitches that we are going to experience. What we are looking at is that we are bringing global VCs, venture capitalists, and what we are trying to do is that whichever solution that you have to offer, whichever prototype you are bringing, whatever you have looked at, and whatever problem that you want to solve, it should be able to solve a problem not only in Accra, but also in Denver, but also in Tokyo, but also in New York, but also in Washington, but also in Cotonou. It should be relevant for someone in Addis Ababa. So what we are trying to do is that we are not just trying to look at things from the local point of view. We are bringing people from across the globe that you can come and pitch your ideas in the deal room, and when you pitch your ideas, you are going to receive the support that you need. And that is what we are looking at when it comes to what we are trying to do.
That is amazing, and I think that everybody has such a role to play, and the vision for Orange Youth Festival, as this conversation is going, seems to just keep getting bigger and bigger and more exciting for me, because 2023 was an experience and 2026 sounds like something off the charts. So I'm excited about it, and we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, we delve into the conversation on the Africa We Want Symposium and the AU Agenda 2063. You stay with us.
Welcome to the Africa We Want Symposium, a gathering of visionaries, thought leaders, and change makers committed to shaping the future of Africa. We capture the essence of the event, from insightful presentations to dynamic discussions.
Welcome back from the break. You're still watching the Arise Dialogue series, and we are delving into a conversation on the Africa We Want Symposium part of the Orange Youth Festival. So I'm going to start this conversation with you, Mr. David. The Africa We Want.
Yes.
This is a phrase we often hear at the African Union level, the AU level. So how is the Africa We Want Symposium version organized by Orange Youth Festival or put together by the Orange Youth Festival different? And how are we moving from talking about the future to drafting, the policy through the aspiration labs that you're going to have?
Okay. All right. Thank you for that question. So it's true, the phrase Africa We Want is often heard at the AU and other continental platforms that are discussing issues of Africa. And you know, the AU Commission is already doing something to achieve the policy document that was drafted in the year 2015, which is the Africa We Want Symposium. And there are other platforms as well who are doing their best to make sure we achieve that, the agenda and then even the goal of that policy statement or policy framework. You know, the vision is an inclusive and a sustainable development. Okay, that's we having a global strategy that optimize the use of African resources for the benefit of the African people. That's the vision of the Agenda 2063. And AU is working towards it, other continental platforms are doing that. But for the Africa We Want Symposium at the Orange Youth Festival, what makes our own different is that this one is youth-led and youth-oriented. It is being led by young people. Young people are the ones building the platform, are the ones doing the symposium, are the ones going to be on the panel and then do all the dialogue to express what they want Africa to be. Because mind you, the creators of the framework, I don't know how old they will be in 2063.
Yeah.
It is we, the young people, who are going to fill their shoes in 2063 and other young people who are behind us.
That's true.
Therefore, it is important for us to have a platform like the Africa We Want Symposium where we can bring out the creative solutions, and also we can bring out the creative strategies to address even the vision and the aspirations in the Africa Agenda 2063. So what makes it special and different from every other platform is that for our Africa We Want Symposium, or when you hear the phrase in our festival, it is youth-led and it's also youth-oriented or focused on the young people. Just as the global CEO said, it is young people showcasing their talent. And if they are showcasing their talent in the expo and in the Ideal Africa, for the symposium, it is young people sharing their voice on how they want Africa to be for them and for their people. So that's what makes it different.
That sounds great. And
You know, Stephanie, summits that we attend, we realize that it ends up with speeches.
Absolutely.
And that is the case. Speaker after speaker comes, gives wonderful speeches,
Yes.
and we draft a communique, and we are good to go. How is standing at the lab? That is why we have the 7 policy labs, having each of the aspirations in Agenda 2063. And ours ends up drawing a technical document that government can follow and implement. So to add up to what our lead coordinator was saying, we're not just going to give speeches. We're going to go to the lab and get something for our government to implement.
And maybe to add to what the global CEO is saying, you know, years ago, Africa met at Lagos, and we had what we call the Lagos Plan of Action. And even in the Agenda 2063 itself, there's a place where it states that by the year 2020, guns should be silenced in Africa. All these years, I think about it and I'm like, it is not young people leading this charge. Has guns really been silenced in Africa? Even that particular year where the policy framework stipulated that we should have gun silence was the year we had a lot of coup d'etat in the continent. So for us, we are going to have a policy lab that is going to talk about a peaceful and a secure Africa, where young people are going to say that in this lab, this is what we think. For Africa to be at peace, this is what we must do. For guns to be silenced, for Somalia to be at peace, for South Sudan to be at peace, and for all parts of the continent to be at peace. This is what we are creating. This is the ingredients, and these are the solutions we are putting together to ensure that is being done. And you see, when young people are leading something, and there is that unanimity in understanding and focus on a goal, it becomes possible because they know they are creating something for themselves when they feel the shoes of the old men. So it should be something we should focus on.
Great. So I think that I like the idea that we're going to be in a lab, because a lab is a place where something is tested
Absolutely.
and prepared to come out.
We don't only give speeches. No, we don't do that in labs.
Yes.
We work and we create solutions.
And talking about even architecting peace, and how we're going to have a conversation on moving just beyond policy and ensuring that the things we say we'll do during the Africa We Want Symposium actually happens. Talking about even the Agenda 2063, I think a lot of young people do not even know what the Agenda 2063 is.
Yeah.
I found out about the Agenda 2063 in college because I had to do an assignment which required that I read about something called Agenda 2063.
Yeah.
Until then, I knew nothing about it. I had heard about the Sustainable Development Goals, but little or nothing about the Agenda 2063.
Okay.
And in my interaction with some young people, randomly about Agenda 2063, I realized that a lot of them feel like it's a bulky document, and maybe haven't taken time to read it to find it interesting enough, or they feel it's so far away from them. When you look at the current state of Africa and where Agenda 2063 envisions Africa, for some people it feels like such a distant dream. So how are the policy labs going to translate those 7 aspirations of the Agenda 2063 into street level action? How can we, like you said earlier, like the global CEO said, we don't want to end up with speeches.
Yes.
So how are we making it such that the everyday young person in a local village can take advantage of the conversation that's going to be had during the symposium?
All right, that's a great question. So during the Africa We Want Symposium, we are going to have the symposium ceremony, where definitely what happens in other seminars will do definitely happen. We have to receive solidarity messages, keynote address, and all that. But from that, we move to the lab. So your question has to do with what will happen in the lab, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So it's you are right when you say young people or young Africans feel that the Agenda 2063 is very distant from them and is probably, to say, over ambitious and is far away from them. It's never far away from them, or even if it feels far away from them. That is why in each of the lab, the aspirations are not, we are not putting all the aspirations into one lab to talk about it. We're going to break into different labs where each of the lab is going to address one aspiration of the Agenda 2063. So you're going to have opportunity to look at one side of it, and once you appreciate one side of the framework, it will inspire you. Even that is not, even all the other aspirations won't be your focus. It will inspire you to look at them as well. So within the policy lab, we are going to have panel discussions where we have people who are already working on each of the aspiration, or that are doing something related to the aspiration, coming to share their opinion. And that is where the game work starts. We talk about the aspirations, we talk about the various gaps, the achievements so far by AU and other organizations or bodies contributing to it, and what even we young people have done so far, or what we even have to know. Then after the panel discussion, we are going to break into mini breakout sessions in each of the lab. And that is where, if I only sat down to enjoy what the diplomats or the delegates were talking about with the aspiration, I also get the opportunity to share my idea, or to give my opinion, to give my solution, which makes it more lab, bringing solutions, putting items together to ensure that the agenda becomes achievable. And then in doing so, we the young people also get to understand what the Agenda 2063 is about and what even AU is doing.
Exactly. I hate to come in all the time because David is doing a perfect job. But to sum what David has said, we localize the aspirations.
Yeah.
What does that mean? We take the 40-year plan, bring to the local level, and give a short period where young people can execute the project, and we start at the local level. because it is the local actions that will feed into the continental actions. You understand? So that's all that we are going to do, and that's how different our program is.
Yeah.
That is not just about what we are going to say. And I'm excited about what Youth Arise is doing with the community impact projects, because it's an example of localizing the activities and the aspirations of the agenda so that it feeds into the continental framework.
Great. And I even think that the Orange TV has done a story on the first edition of the community impact projects that we had. So for people to really appreciate, how we are going local with this thing, you can watch on the page and get an idea. And I like the fact that this is not a lab where we are in lab coats, but our minds. Yes. Our minds are in a coat.
Yes, please.
And mixing things and putting things together. Yes. And I like the fact that we are bringing it so down to the everyday young person on the street. Even talking about the aspiration about our culture and creativity, how the everyday young person can express themselves and make an impact with that, or move us closer towards our Agenda 2063. I'm going to come to you, Miss Lynn. Day 3 of the Orange Youth Festival. We realized that as we started this conversation, we've moved from talking to doing. And activities like tree planting, menstrual health projects, and school painting. How did you come about selecting the specific legacy project? And how do we ensure that the impact doesn't just end after the festival is over and when delegates leave?
That is a very important question that we bring up there. Because as part of the Orange Youth Festival, even though we've announced the festival, we are excited, we are bringing people from across the country and the continents to be a part of the festival, we wanted to do something to impact the community where we find ourselves. What is the purpose of us, breaking down AU's Agenda 2063 and looking at what we can do if we cannot even start at the premises of the festival? And if we cannot start at the grounds of the festival? So we looked at it in this way. What issues are really relevant to the community that we find ourselves in for the festival? And what values are we as a festival upholding within that time? We're looking at leadership, we're looking at service, we're looking at transformation, we're looking at innovation, we're looking at so many things. So we asked ourselves, what are the real challenges that we face in our communities? And we didn't just want our delegates to just come and do something and then leave it for the community and go. So if you would notice, you realize that we selected projects like menstrual health, education sensitization, and all that, because these are real challenges that girls, not only in Accra, Ghana, face, but we're looking at challenges that girls and even boys across our continent and across the world are facing. So we are taking it little by little from there. We are going into our community, we are going into the schools, we are, educating these young people, even below our ages and below our standards. We are looking at young people in elementary school, middle school, as they are coming up, to also, pick something up from what we are doing. Not only are we educating them, we are also leaving a value that we are expressing at the Orange Youth Festival there with them. We are looking at things like tree planting. That was legacy for the community that we find ourselves in. The first one was legacy in terms of sensitization and education. A tree, as soon as a tree is planted, or as long as a tree is planted, for years it remains. And not only are we looking at something to contribute to the green vision of the continent and of the world, but we are looking at something that speaks volumes. We are looking at something that when we return in 10 years' time, when we return in 20 years' time, we can look at and say that this is something we started at this venue, and this is something that we are seeing go on and on and on. From that project to the Little Innovators Workshop, where we are trying to ignite curiosity in the STEM field for young people. We have the STEM Innovation Challenge, we have Innovation Expos, where we are going to have VCs and angel investors and all those people around. But it doesn't just end with us. We want to make sure that in 50 years' time, at another Orange Youth Festival, we have another crop of young people who developed the mindset and the idea to start thinking outside the box very early, so that when we come for another Orange Youth Festival, the innovations there will be different. We would see things that started at a young age, and we would really see, the Africa that we want to see at an accelerated pace. Instead of us now thinking about something, we're looking at the young people, even younger than us, starting to think about something. So we looked at activities that, speak to the volume that we are trying to raise in the Orange Youth Festival. And these are not projects we are doing in isolation. We have considered and consulted stakeholders, community leaders, school leaders, and other relevant people to make sure that post the festival, we do check-ins. Post the festival, we do documentations on the impact of some of the projects that we started in the community. And one thing that we are also looking at is the replication mindset. So the people or the delegates that join in to do this project, as soon as we leave the grounds of the festival, these are people that become ambassadors, going into their communities and starting something small on their own. So that in our little space and in our little communities, we are doing something that will collectively come up to add up to the vision that we are looking at for our Agenda 2063. So we are definitely moving from talking, and we are starting right on the grounds of the festival in order to make sure that we are truly achieving, and we are not just talking like other people do.
The community should feel that a group came to that community to have a festival. It's not that we came from across the continent to come and we came to host a program at your community and we left.
Yeah.
We must have imprints, we must have footprints to show that yes, something like this took place.
Yes, and that even links me to the Youth Arise Creed, to leave a watermark where we are. And so I believe that by implementing this project at Valley View, we are going to leave a mark
by the community. We are looking at doing things for the entire community. So we are looking at government schools, we are looking at orphanages, we are looking at schools, we are looking at the community, having a community event. Right. So beyond hosting a festival, the community will feel that a group came
and did something truly for the community.
We've mapped out the community that we are going into. So from north, south, east, and west of Avenue, we are doing something somewhere.
That is great, and let's keep the conversation running. And I like the enthusiasm and the lineup of the events that we are going to have. And it looks like from the beginning to the end of the festival is a power-packed, time.
Absolutely.
And looking at how Valley View is going to host over thousands of people, starting from morning fitness at 5 a.m. to our reflections and everything, it's just going to be a long day. How is the committee intending to manage the physical and mental energy of the delegates so they stay productive for the 5 days straight?
So we have taken that into serious consideration, because we are going to be doing so many important things throughout the 4 days of the festival that we can't afford to lose the mental acumen of our delegates when it is time for us to put that to work. We also can't afford to lose, the physical strength and ability when it is time for us to go into our community and all that. So we have structured the agenda so that in the mornings it's time for us to activate ourselves. So it's time for us to psych ourselves and get ourselves into the framework of doing. And during the day, we are looking at learning, we are looking at collaborations and dialogues of all sorts. But when it comes to the evenings, that is when we are playing things a little cooler to regain our strength. So that is when we are having the cultural nights, that is when we are having our talent spotlight, that is when we are easing into the Africanacity of the festival and of the atmosphere and all that, while rejuvenating ourselves and while getting ourselves into the mental space and the emotional space to do what we are supposed to do. So we have reflections where we sit down in the cool of the day and reflect on what we have been doing throughout the day, reflect on the things we have discussed, reflect on some of the things that we are looking to do. We have times we are going to be enjoying sweet breezes of music. We have times we are going to be laughing off a drama, African comedy. We are going to be joining in dancing and all that. So we are not only looking at the technical aspects and the physical aspects of things, but we have structured the days in such a way that we are able to play and have a perfect balance in such a way that we are expressing ourselves, we are doing the real work, but we are also easing into our Africanness and easing into the things that we are doing. So it's a very nice dynamic of learning and doing and also having fun in the process.
It's like what we say at the Leadership Diary Training Program is a blend of education and entertainment. It's an entertainment program, and I'm just excited about. It looks like it's going to be a lot of. The first Orange Youth Festival. I laughed. I had a blast. The music from the concerts stayed on my mind for so long, and when I'm there in the quiet of the day, I'll just be singing and dancing to myself. So I believe that everybody coming is going to have such a similar experience,
even more than that,
a greater experience than we have.
We are multiplying the experiences we had in
wow.
So if we had 2 dances and 2 performances, expect between 20 going. We are having so many things happening at the Orange Youth Festival. We want to make sure that we are truly celebrating the gift of African young people.
Yes. Our Africanism is going to come to play.
Exactly.
I think we downplay the event if we limit what we are doing to Africa. Indeed, the bulk of our participants may come from our continent. That is actually a global thing. We are looking forward to the day where when the flame is lighted, it's not just about the African young person, about the young person in Kosovo, a young person in Yemen, in Syria, a young person in New York, Washington, a young person in London, in Brussels, and in Tokyo, and in Beijing, seeing hope and knowing that this world is not a painful place, that this world is a place where their dreams and their aspirations can come to pass.
Great. And talking about dreams and aspirations, let's talk about the deal room. We are inviting venture capitalists and angel investors. Are we looking at, actually seed funding being signed on site? And what is the Orange standard? What standard do you have to meet to benefit from these investors that are coming? And what would it take to get you into that room?
There are 3 things that we are looking at. We call it the 3S. And what is the 3S? Whatever you are bringing to the deal room should be scalable. So we're looking at the scalability of what you are bringing to the deal room. 2, we are looking at the sustainability of what you are bringing. And the 3rd S we are looking at the sovereignty of what you are bringing. What do I mean? Does your business or does your idea cut across your current geographical location? Is it only just about meet the local need and that is it? 2, how sustainable is what you are bringing? And 3, are you permanently going to depend on aid, or there is a strategy or a plan to move away from aid for you to be able to fund the project and sustain what you are doing? If your pitches and your ideas meet these 3 criteria, then you can join us in the deal room where you are likely to have a check for what is on your mind.
Great. So I think that my agency must come up with what is going to pitch.
And I'm going to be
in the deal room. I want to be in that deal room.
Listening to the explanations our global CEO is giving when it comes to the deal room at the Orange Youth Festival. One of the policy lab, which is specifically lab 1, is going to talk about prosperous Africa, where we are looking at inclusive growth and even the work of Africa continental free trade area. Okay, so if we will prosper as a continent, then it means ideas which are scalable sustainable, and sovereign must be funded and get to that point of sovereignty, or the money that we are getting from such an idea, which becomes a huge conglomerate, will benefit the continent. And I'm going to be in the deal room.
Yes, I want.
But from now,
I know that
I'm going to work on ideas because I have to get this
your ideas. Those who are going to join that program
with a check. Yes, that's some millions. That will do something for myself and for the content.
It is possible to enter the deal room
and walk out with a check.
check.
So my agency is going to be preparing our pitch to come and leave that room with our check. So with that said, I think that we are really whetting the appetite for the Orange Youth Festival. So if you want to get more details, I think that you are listening, you want to get more of the gist of it, be at the festival.
Sure.
And that would, everything that they are saying here, they're just scratching the surface. The real meat awaits you at the festival.
Yes, I would like to just pitch in for a moment. When it comes to things and matters of the due room and money for funding and all that, people have a lot of questions. So if you are out there and you are planning to be a part of the due room, yes, you have some questions. Don't worry, we are open to answering all your questions. So you can just visit theorangefestival.com or send us an email at info@theorangefestival.com. And you'd answer all your questions and help you so that you can also walk out of the deal room with your signed check.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. And as the conversation has been quite interesting down to this point, then we are inching closer to know how the culmination or the closing of the Orange Youth Festival is going to go. So I'm going to start with our global CEO. Day 4 of the festival would feature the graduation and the launch of your new fellowship. You are, essentially commissioning an army of leaders. So what is the oath or the responsibility that graduates and people leaving the Leadership Diary Training Program 2026 edition are expected to carry as they walk out of that ceremony?
The responsibility is that of accountability and loyalty to our content. When participants of our Leadership Diary Training Program graduate during the Orange Youth Festival, we are holding the watermark of literals. And this is it for them. They are not only carrying the certificates, they are saying that when others complain, we build. When others leave, we stay. When others give up, we forge on. That is why it's about the Africa we forge. So it is not just about being given a certificate on that day, it's about carrying the weight of our continent and saying that whatever I can do to ensure that first my community, my nation, my continent and the world becomes a better place, I will do it. That is what we are talking about. And that is a responsibility and the oath that we are living there with. With the fellowship program, there's so much to know about it. We are actually going to launch it on that day. So I'm going to reserve a lot about the fellowship for the launching of, I believe that is the fellowship that the world has been waiting for.
Wow.
Because the fellowship is not only a continental fellowship. It's a fellowship that brings people from all the continents of this world. Starting from our beloved continent. So I'm going to reserve a lot of the details of the fellowship program to the launch of it during the graduation of at the Orange Youth Festival.
Back to you, Mr. David. In a world that is currently very volatile, how are you specifically preparing young people or these young people to negotiate as equals with global powers?
Okay, so right from the Africa We Want Symposium, and after drafting the Accra Youth Statement, we are actually going to have the Orange Ambassadors briefing, where the statement will be read out just as we are taking it to the various stakeholders or continental platforms that we want to send them to. But then the young people who have architected these statements, we are also going to empower them through a diplomatic corps, which we call the Arise or the Youth Arise Diplomatic Corps. We're going to empower them on how to negotiate with global powers. We're going to empower them on how to communicate these ideas that have been crafted from the various labs, negotiate and communicate them to the global powers, and also even be at the global level as we are taking Africa to be a strong player at the global level.
Wow. And then based on that, I think that the young people that are getting a chance to be a part of the Orange Youth Festival are going to be very, very empowered.
Absolutely.
To do great things.
That's true.
Yes.
Great. Now, we've heard so much about the Orange Youth Festival today and how, the activities are going to run, and how, if you are not at the Orange Youth Festival, you are missing out on something great.
Yeah.
So how can a young person listening to us or watching us on this conversation be a part of it? And how can anybody at all, maybe not just a young person, but someone who is listening to us and hearing what we are saying and says, oh, I want to give to this, I want to be a part of this, what role can I play? What do you have to say to such people?
So I'll begin with the young people. For every young person out there, the platform is open. And you can just visit our website, orangeyouthfestival.com, and go through what is there, go through the activity lineup and all that. And you can sign up on orangeyouthfestival.com/register. And you go through a very simple form filling process and you'll be contacted by our team. But for the larger community, we are looking at not doing this alone. We are not, on our own in this course. So for corporate, for individuals, for people out there that are thinking that you can come on board, you can partner with us, you can bring something to the fore, and you can join forces with us to roll this out, our doors are always open. We accept emails via the info@orangeyouthfestival.com or partnerships@orangeyouthfestival.com. We'll answer all your questions. And, we are just ready to accept, sponsors, partners, performers, anyone from any space of life that fits into the festival. So our doors are open for everyone.
There's so much in the festival. There's so much that the festival has got to offer. What I'll advise viewers is visit our website. Look at www.orangeyouthfestival.com. You will see all the other aspects of the festival. Whichever area that you think that, this is for me, I can partner here, I can be part of this, I can join this. You know that we are even accepting funds, youth-led produced films for the festival. Because there'll be a room on a Friday of the festival. There's going to be a time where we are just going to showcase African movies produced by young people for 4 hours non-stop to see what the young people are doing. And if you also have a talent in singing, if you're a group and you've been looking for that global stage to perform, you may be in Zanzibar, you may be in Cape Town, you may be in Limpopo, and you are looking forward to perform on the global stage, just apply, register, we'll contact you and we'll pick up from there. So everyone watching me, just visit our website, www.orangeyouthfestival.com, and you see everything about the festival. And whichever place you feel that you are comfortable with, just send us an email. Our team is ready to respond within 24 hours, and we are going to work together to make Africa what we've always been looking
for. And I visited the website myself, and I must say it was a beautiful job done by the Orange Youth Festival team, and it's very informative, and I'm just excited about the festival. And as we are preparing to wrap up our conversation, my final major question goes back to you, Abu Rossi. Day 5. You've been through day 1, day 2, day 3, and finally the final day of the Orange Youth Festival, which is about sustaining momentum. And we are well informed that there's going to be a briefing of the Orange ambassadors to hand deliver the communique that came out of the conversation. Is this the beginning of a permanent youth lobbyist group across Africa?
I'll say yes and no. But what I'll say is that we want to ensure that the orange flame burns in every city of this continent. That is why, as our lead coordinator for the symposium said, we are raising the new generation of African diplomatic corps on that day. We train them in diplomacy, and we train them in negotiation, and we train them on how to be able to operate at the big level. And then we take our communique and we hand deliver it to different governments and heads of states. So, is it the beginning? Is yes and no. But what I can assure you is that this flame is going to burn all year round till we meet in 2028.
Wow! Can we hear that again for the Orange Youth Festival team? Before I let you go, we have something we do on the Rise Dialogue series known as the Rapid Fire Questions. Rise Rapid Fire Questions. And so this is going to be quick. I'm going to throw a word out there, and I want a one-word reaction from you in order. So, okay, I'll start with our symposium lead.
Oh, from me? Okay.
Yes, then we come to our, our secretariat head, and then come to our global CEO. Rapid fire questions. You want to hear one word that comes to your mind when you hear this? The African dream.
Development.
Synergy.
Sovereignty.
That was a quick one. My next one. Orange Youth Festival 2026 in one word.
Architects gathering.
Energy.
Fantastic.
And that has been it on the Arise Dialogue series. It's been wonderful having all my guests on the show, from the By the Fireside to the Orange Legacy, wrapping up the 2026 Orange Youth Festival. I think a date that we must all be looking out for in this year 2026 is the week of the Orange Youth Festival, which is from the 19th of August to the 23rd of August. Today we've seen the vision, we've heard the strategy, and we've heard the pulse of the Secretariat. If you believe that your ideas deserve a global stage, visit the Orange Youth Festival website and send them a pitch. And you may be the next movie we may be watching at the Orange Youth Festival. You may be the next guest that will be hosting on one of our shows. Orange Youth Festival. My name is Steffi Tekpete. I want to say thank you so much to all my guests.
Thank you so
very
much
much
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
It's been a wonderful conversation.
Yes.
And I look forward to having most of you back on this panel for us to have different conversations, and even after the symposium to get after the festival
I'm told
to get into it.
OTV is going to do a great work during the festival.
Yes.
And we cannot wait to see your coverage of the show.
Yes, the official coverage of the Orange Youth Festival would be done by the Orange TV, so stay tuned with us throughout the season.
Yeah.
My name is Steffi Tekpete. This has been the Arise Dialogue series, architecting the future, one dialogue at a time. Do have a wonderful evening.